Hello, this is McD the Beast, and this is McD Sports 4 coming to you today with my Boise State football predictions for the 2020 college football season. Before I continue, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Please subscribe to your channel. I do have a subscriber goal of 500 subscribers, which I'll love to hit by August 29th. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. You will not regret it. So Boise State last year, they went 11-1. They lost to BYU. They won the Mountain West at 12-1 and got to the Las Vegas Bowl before losing to Washington. And I don't think Boise State fans were really mad about that loss because it was a blowout loss, but it was also the last game that the former head coach who coached at Washington, Chris Peterson, that was his last coach game at Washington. He was the former Boise State coach before he became the Washington coach. So it was nice to see him face his former team in his final game and basically beat them. The coach for Boise State used to work under him, so it was a nice ceremony and everything. But this year, Boise State is hoping to get to a New Year's Six Bowl. Let's see if that happens. So let's start off with the things I like. What I like about this team, their head coach, Brian Herson. I do think he's a very good head coach, and I think eventually he will be a Power 5 coach somewhere. Now, granted, Chris Peterson kind of did the same thing. He stayed at Boise State a very long time before he eventually got to a Power 5 job. He might just be looking for the right fit, Brian Herson. But overall, I do think he is a pretty good head coach. And I also like his offense. Offensively, Boise State, they had a rookie quarterback last year, Hank Strongmere. I don't know if I'm saying the last name right, but the rookie quarterback there. And he's going to have a year under his belt. So we'll see what happens. But I know he was injured some last year. But overall, I do think the offense should take a step forward this year. And I also like the defense for this team. I'm only paying 2 for each. So, yeah. What I don't like about this team, the schedule. The schedule is really tough this year. It's sneaky tough. I mean, let's go into the 3 toughest games. Florida State, Air Force, Marshall. Florida State, talent-wise, they're top 25 at least. Air Force, very quietly went 10-2 last year, Air Force, and they're expecting. Some people are picking them to win the Mountain West. Marshall only beat them by a touchdown last year. You go on the road this year to them. And also those other games here, like Week 1 against Georgia Southern, they won that triple option. Air Force won some version of the triple option. San Jose State, 10-point game last year. Granted, you get them at home this year, unlike last year. At Hawaii tends to bring distractions. So, and they were in the Mountain West Championship game last year. You faced them twice. It's kind of 2 different outcomes if you think about it. One game last year turned out to be kind of a shootout. The other one was basically a domination, but Boise State won both of them. BYU, you lost to them last year. You get them at home this year. Even like at Wyoming, is a tough team. But, I mean, you guys lost to them before. And Colorado State, I think they're going to take a big step forward this year. And those games tend to be usually close against them for some reason with Boise State. So I think this is a really tough schedule. And I think that is the one major thing I do not like about this team. But I always talk about the 3 toughest games, Florida State, Air Force, Marshall. Your 3 easiest games, UNLV, New Mexico State. It should really be just New Mexico for some reason. I put down New Mexico State on my paper here. My apologies. And then San Jose State. Listen, those 2 games, UNLV, New Mexico, they're going to be pretty easy. And it came down to San Jose State and Utah State for me. I went with San Jose State only because I do expect Utah State to take a big step back, and also you get Utah State coming off a bye. So that's why I went with San Jose State over Utah State. And yeah. Best case and worst case scenario. Your best case scenario is 11-1. I do think you lose a game somewhere this year in this tough schedule. I just do. Worst case scenario, 8-4. I'm telling you, it would not surprise me if we see Boise State at 9-3, 8-4 this year. It just really won't. This schedule is just really tough, and I can see that. But I don't think you guys would be any worse than 8-4. So let's jump into the schedule. Let's see what I have you guys going game by game here. Let's start off with that Georgia Southern game in week 1. Georgia Southern, they won the triple option. The game is in Boise. And I think this game's going to be at least a competitive game, but at the end, I went with Boise State, and the reason why I went with Boise State is because they're going to have time to prepare for that triple option. That's a week 1 game. Now, if this game was in the middle of the season, I would definitely be cautious about this one, but week 1 game, you have plenty of time to prepare. I think Boise State gets the win here by about 2 touchdowns. Next game at Air Force. This is a big game in the Mountain West here in week 2. Um, I went back and forth for this one. Last year, this game was 30-19. So it's in the Air Force this year. A lot of people think whoever wins this game is going to win the Mountain Division in the Mountain West. I disagree with that. I think even if whoever loses this game still has a shot to win the Mountain Division in the Mountain West because it's early in the season. But I gave it to Air Force. It's in the Air Force. That's the main reason why. I do think this Air Force team can go easily 10-2 again this year. So I gave it to Air Force. I think you guys dropped this one for your first loss of the season. Next game, Florida State. Last year, you guys went into Tallahassee during that hurricane and beat them. The game was supposed to be in Jacksonville, but they moved it to Tallahassee because of the hurricane coming in. I think Hurricane Michael was. And hopefully, there's no hurricanes this football season, so no one's affected by it, and we can have everybody can have a full 12-game slate. I went back and forth for this one. I do think that Boise State has this game circled. I think they might be underdogs in this game, honestly, because I think Mike Norvell is going to have this team at least looking like a decent Florida State team. And I gave it to Boise State. I think the score is similar than what it was last year. I think it was 36-31 last year. I think it's similar to that one possession game. I mean, the game's in Boise. I just feel like Boise State, they are very known to be for knocking off Power 5 schools, and I think they're going to knock off this Power 5 school right here. Next game at Marshall. You feel high about yourselves after that big win. You turn around, you go on the road against Marshall. This game is a Friday night game. Last year, you guys only beat them 14-7. Marshall was one of those teams that were consistently one of the best teams in the Conference USA. You guys have to go across the country from Idaho to West Virginia for this one. I gave you guys the loss. I do think you guys are favored in this game, but I do think at the end you guys lose a game you guys are probably not supposed to lose, and I think this is the one. Um, and I just personally think, and do I think Marshall's the better team? No, but I think they pull off the upset here. Is in Marshall. I just really feel like Marshall pulls off the upset there. That coming off that game, San Jose State at home. You guys are 2-2 at this point. You guys are going to be looking to at least salvage your season at this point. Try to compete for that Mountain Division to get to the Mountain West Championship game. You guys will beat San Jose State. Last year, this game was a 10-point game, 62-52. I think this game is going to be kind of a shootout, but I think throughout the game, there's going to be no doubt that Boise State is in control of the game. I think at the end, you guys win this game by about 2 to 3 touchdowns, honestly. But I do think it's going to be a shootout. I think San Jose State will score some points on y'all. Then you get your bye week. Bye week in between San Jose State and Utah State. Utah State at home. I think Utah State takes a big step back this year. Jordan Love, drafted by the Green Bay Packers. I think you guys beat Utah State. I think you beat them very easy, honestly. Utah State, I just think it's really going to take a big step back this year. I think they might not even make a bowl game, honestly, this year. Next game at Hawaii. Hawaii is one of those teams. I think they have one of the best home field advantages. You can get very distracted in Hawaii, just like you could get very distracted in Miami. And I think this game's going to be a kind of interesting game. It's a rematch of the Mountain West Championship. Granted, Boise State actually got them twice last year in the regular season and in the Mountain West Championship, and it was two opposite games. The first game kind of turned into a bit of a shootout, but Boise State was always in control of that game, and I think they won it 58-37, I want to say, something like that. And then they won it by 3 touchdowns. And then the other game, they also won by 3 touchdowns, but it was 31-10, and it was kind of just a beatdown. I think you're going to see a mix of both in this game. I do think this game is probably going to be a bit of a shootout, but at the end, same thing. I just feel like Boise State is going to be in control of this game for the whole game. And Hawaii, they have that very good quarterback. Who's replacing Cole McDonald. But at the end, I think Boise State gets the win here over Hawaii because I just think they're the better team. Next game, UNLV. This game is at home for Boise State. UNLV, I think, is going to score some points this year. But at the end, Boise State's just a much better team. I gotta give you guys the win here. I think this game's going to be kind of a blowout, but I do think UNLV can score maybe 24, 27 points on y'all. But I think Boise State will score 50 plus. Next game, BYU. BYU, and by the way, this BYU game is a Friday night game. Last year, BYU beat you guys 28-25. You guys were down, I think, 28-7 and came back and got within a field goal. So a lot of those points are kind of scored in garbage time. I actually went back and forth for this one because I think BYU is one of those teams. I think they're decent, but I don't think they're like a tier 1 or tier 2 team this year, really. I mean, I went back and forth with this one. I gave it to Boise State because it's in Boise. But overall, I do think this is a one possession game. I think Boise State gets out with the win, though. Next game at New Mexico. Win. New Mexico is one of the worst teams in the Mountain West. I expect you guys to go down there and actually blow them out, honestly. I know there's a new head coach. Thank the Lord, Bob Davie is gone, New Mexico fans. I've been calling for his job on his YouTube channel for years. But overall, I just feel like you guys go down there and blow them out. I don't think this game's close at all. Next game at Wyoming. Wyoming's one of those teams that are going to play you tough. And I think this game's going to be a bit more on the low scoring side because of that. But at the end of the day, Boise State, I think, just goes into Wyoming and beats them. I know in 2016, was it? Wyoming ended up winning this game. They had Josh Allen as quarterback. Wyoming, they don't really recruit well. They're more focused on developing talent, which they do a really good job at doing. But at the end, I just don't think Wyoming. I think they can compete with you guys, but I just don't think they're going to beat you guys. I expect you guys to get out of here with a 7 to 14 point win against Wyoming. And then your final game of the season against Colorado State. These games actually tend to be pretty close against these two schools. I don't know why, especially the past few years when Colorado State has basically been a 3-9 team. Now, I do expect Colorado State under Mike Alderizzo. I always mispronounce his name. I do expect them to take a big step or a big leap forward this year, possibly into a bowl game. I'm very high on this Colorado State team because of the head coach hire. The game is in Boise. I gotta go Boise State here. Boise State, I just think it's better. Even if the game was in Colorado State, I would go Boise State in this one. I just think Boise State is a better team, and I think they'll win this game by about 2 touchdowns. But who knows? These games tend to be close every year, so it might be. I mean, one game was, I think, it was the game of the year. Honestly, Boise State was down. They came back and won at 59-52 in overtime. So these games tend to be really close, but overall, I do expect Boise State to get the win here, especially at home. So if you count up all the wins and losses, I have Boise State going 10-2 with a 7-1 conference record. 10-2 with a 7-1 conference record. You lose that out conference game against Marshall. You lose the in conference game against Air Force. But 7-1. Listen, all they need Air Force to do is lose 2 games in the Mountain West, and there will be an Air Force football prediction video coming out eventually. It might not even be till August, honestly, because I'm trying to get all the Power 5 schools done the way I'm doing it in June, and I'm going to make an announcement at the end about about how I'm doing it. But I do think overall it's going to be a decent year for Boise State. But with the schedule, I just think the schedule's too tough, honestly, to make a New Year's Six bowl. I really do. So I don't think Boise State makes a New Year's Six bowl this year. But it could be Las Vegas bowl, could be maybe at least a decent bowl game for a Group of Five team. I do think that. So we'll see what happens. But just one quick announcement, not relating. Well, it is relating to football predictions, but not Boise State. I just want to give you guys a schedule next week for the games I'm doing. So I don't. So the way I've been doing it is I've been doing well, not games, the teams I'm doing next week. So the way I've been doing it, I've been doing one team a day on weekdays, and then on the weekends I do one on Saturday, but none on Sunday. And we're gonna stick to that through June. Because of my scheduling, the way things are scheduled for me right now. In July, in July and August, I'll have a lot more free time. So the way for the schedule next week, and I should have done this last week, but on the Saturday video, but on Monday, Notre Dame, Tuesday, USC, Wednesday, North Carolina, Thursday. Crap, I forgot who Thursday was. Oh yeah, Wisconsin. Thursday, Wisconsin, and then Friday, Texas, and then Saturday is probably going to be Cincinnati. For your Group of Five prediction, and then the following week for Group of Five will be UCF, and then Appalachian State will be the next Group of Five team that I do. So I already know the three next Group of Five teams I'm doing. Those are going to be done on Saturdays. And then once July happens, probably after July 4th, I'll start maybe throwing in, maybe doing one on Sunday. Maybe some days it will be two a day. Because just so we can get as many teams in as possible. If you have a team you want me to do, just comment, just leave a comment on one of the videos, and will eventually get to it. So thanks for watching the video. Hit the thumbs up button. Please subscribe to your channel. And this is McD the Beast signing off.